After weeks of anticipation, the list has finally come. This is my top 10 movies of summer 2017. Now, the reason why you are not seeing my face in this video is because since many of these movies are hold dear to my heart, I want to make this video special and include the posters of these movies in here. So yes, this video will be edited, and I just want to put more time and effort into this video than I normally would. And this is how most of my reviews are going to go, like in the forthcoming future, unless there's multiple movies I want to see in a week. In that case, I'll do the regular video format, but other than that, this is the new standard about how this is going to go. So anyhow, without further ado, let's start off this list at number 10, which is Good Time. Now, Good Time is directed by Josh and Ben Safdie, and it stars Robert Pattinson. And this movie, honestly, Robert Pattinson deserves an Oscar or at least a nomination for his performance, because this is one of the best performances I have seen all year long. The setting and the tone of Good Time really contradicts the name of the movie, and it totally amazes me, especially with the visual and musical styles that are throughout this film. I mean, honestly, Good Time is something that you may not have the warmest feelings of, but you're certainly gonna really enjoy this film. At least if you're in love with the whole New York City crime genre. So really check this one out. I mean, I highly recommend it. Alright, number 9 is King Arthur Legend of the Sword. Now, this movie may shock some people out to putting it like in the top 10 list of summer movies, but hear me out on this one. So when I first heard about this movie and saw the trailers for it, I thought it was just going to be kind of trash, honestly. And I was kind of disappointed since Guy Ritchie was directing this. However, I went to go see this with my mom one evening, and then we saw it, and I was absolutely amazed by this film because, you know, it's a lean, clean fighting machine, meaning there's no added bullshit throughout this film. You know, it's straight to the point. The action is like, you know, to a science almost. And I gotta say that Charlie Hunnam as King Arthur really is believable, honestly. And I also, believe it or not, like Eric Bana in this film. I mean, I haven't seen him anything good since like Hulk, but he really just does a great comeback performance here. And yeah, I really gotta recommend, you know, King Arthur Legend of the Sword. I mean, don't really listen to what the mainstream critics are saying for this one, because this is honestly a lot better than what people are saying. Guy Ritchie, I think, really knows how to balance action with drama, and this is one of his finer works. Alright, number 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, I don't need to say much about this film since I've already talked about it ad nauseum, and so has every other person on the internet, so I'll say it at this. This is a perfect sequel to an already well-established movie that came out 3 years earlier, and Marvel already knows what it's doing. You know, great action, great comedy, great writing, you name it. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you haven't seen it already, what the hell are you doing? Stop this video right now and go watch it. Yeah, I'm just going to add one more thing. When my friends and I saw this, we didn't really riff at this movie because it was just that damn good. We just enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, that's an achievement in itself. Alright, speaking about Marvel, number 7 is SpiderMan Homecoming. Again, this is a great reboot to the Spider-Man franchise. Again, I already did a review of this with Orange Bowl, so if you want to go see that, check it out at his channel. I'll put it in the link in the description below. But anyhow, yeah, this is a film that I think really is... Now, this is how you do a reboot. You don't try to add in filler bullshit that no one wants. You don't try to darken the story just for the sake of drama. No, if you're going to add drama, add it in so that it'll be cohesive with the story. I really gotta say, Tom Holland, I think, does a much better job at playing Spider-Man than Andrew Garfield. But even getting rid of Andrew Garfield for a second, as a whole, this is a really neat Spider-Man film. I hope to see this turn into a franchise that really does not get stale. So yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, had a really fun time with this one. Alright, number 6 is The Lovers. Now, for the longest time, this was my favorite film of the summer, but hence only it's at number 6 now. Not saying this movie has, you know, declined in any way. It's just the competition was better. But The Lovers really goes into what a declining relationship is, and about how two couples just try to keep it together till the very end. And Honestly, Tracy Letts and Deborah Winter both deserve awards nominations for their performances, as it's some of the most realistic portrayals of a relationship I have ever seen on film. So, and also the writing of it feels very human in a sense. It doesn't feel like it came out of the Hollywood script factory, if you know what I mean. So, The Lovers, it's just too bad this movie did not get a wider release or more attention than it should have. I mean, I was talking to some people about this movie and they never even heard of it, and which is really just a shame. And this is also from A24, which by the way, Good Time was also released by A24, and this will not be the last time A24 will be on this list. But yeah, I gotta say that this, again, like I mentioned in the honorable mentions video, this is the studio of the year so far in my books. All right, now we're getting into the top 5, the really good section. This is the sections where I call it some of the best films I've seen all year long. So at number 5 is The Big Sick. Now, a lot of mainstream critics and even indie critics have been calling this one of the best movies of the year. And I could see why. It mixes comedy, it mixes drama, it mixes heart really well in one package without being bloated on either one of them. Kumail Nanjiani, I think his script feels very, touching. It feels very loving. And it also feels pretty raw a lot of times. I mean, him and, Zoe Kazan really have some of the best romantic chemistry, along with Tracy Letts and, Deborah Winter. I mean, I call this, a bit of the more slightly mainstream version of The Lovers, or I actually say maybe The Lovers, but slightly funnier in a sense. I don't know. Again, they're both kind of different movies, but with The Big Sick, the one advantage it has, though, is that, it feels, more contemporary. It feels more, it feels more targeted to young people. And since I am a young man, I felt very connected to this movie in a sense. So, yeah, I just don't know how to describe this without you really going to see it. I mean, I already did a review on it, but just please check out The Big Sick. That's all I'm going to say. All right, number 4 is Wind River. Now, I haven't really discussed this movie that much, so let me explain this movie a bit. It's about Jeremy Renner, who is out in Wyoming, and he has to go investigate this murder that happens on a Native American reservation called Wind River, and he has to figure out, along with Elizabeth Olsen, who is an FBI agent, how this murder happened. And it's a very brutal, very disturbing flick from writer-director Taylor Sheridan, and honestly, I think it's Taylor Sheridan's best script to date. This is a very, emotionally draining film. I felt that I was, shooken at many points. I mean, there is a scene in this movie where I flinched at some points. In fact, I was sitting next to a person who had to walk out of the theater temporarily. It was so rough. But yeah, honestly, Taylor Sheridan did a fantastic job in this film, and hopefully he continues to write scripts and even direct movies. This is only his second directorial feature, but yeah, I feel like with the experience he had managing Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, that he's been a director for at least 15 years or something like that. So yeah, Wind River, it's still in theaters. Go check it out. Also, Good Time still in theaters, so I recommend seeing that, but especially Wind River. Go check this out. All right, number 3 is Ingrid Goes West. Now, I had been anticipating this movie since Sundance for the longest time. In fact, I went to go see a Q&A with Aubrey Plaza and Matt Spicer, the director of this film. And, there are some times where hype, will really, deflate as you see the actual movie. But honestly, this movie met all my expectations and then some. I mean, the fact this movie goes into the life of an Instagram wannabe star and looks at the life of a Los Angeles celebrity, it really delves into that. Like, just shows you the nitty gritty of what it's really like to live that kind of, that Jekyll Hyde kind of life in a sense, where it may seem peachy on the front side, but underneath, not so much. So, yeah, Ingrid Goes West. I highly recommend you check this out if it's playing around in a theater near you. I mean, this movie I like that it's a mix of a comedy and a drama, and it's really, blends the lines both very well. Again, neither side, overwhelms you. I mean, I had a really fun time with Ingrid Goes West, and I'm sure you will too. All right, number 2 is A Ghost Story. Now, the reason why I didn't do a review of this movie, because I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to give it its own analysis video. And yeah, I went out of my way to go see this movie. And boy, did I really enjoy it. I just love, how quiet this movie is and how pictures are more powerful than words at many points throughout a ghost story. And the cinematography and the music really capture the haunting environment that this movie provides to you. I mean, David Lowery has really blossomed as a director compared to something like Pete's Dragon. I mean, I think this is the movie that he really wanted to make, and Pete's Dragon was just for the paycheck. And since, Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara are just, again, another really tight couple in this movie. They are just, are very believable, very, on point. And a ghost story. Now, again, some people may hate this movie since it's so quiet and that nothing really happens, but at the same time, a lot happens. So again, if you're not into kind of meta movies or movies that really, are more visual than spoken, then you'll probably hate this. But I truly loved it, and it's one of my favorite movies of the year. But my number one favorite movie of summer 2017, and quite possibly my favorite movie of the year so far, is Crown Heights. Now, let me tell you a story about how I saw Crown Heights. So I was in New York City, believe it or not, planning on seeing Ingrid Goes West, but that was at a later time. And I was around Greenwich Village, and I saw the IFC Center, which is a really good theater, by the way. Go check it out if you're in the area. And then I saw Crown Heights on the billboard. Now, when I saw that, I had known about Crown Heights from Sundance as it won the Audience Award. So as soon as I saw that sign, I immediately went to go buy a ticket for it, since I thought to myself, Crown Heights is probably not going to be playing where I'm from, so I might as well go check it out while I can. So I went to go see it, and I was blown away. I mean, I nearly cried at some points of how intense this movie is. I mean, when I walked out, I was still shook, and even after I did the review for 20 minutes, this movie still haunted me in the best possible way. I mean, Keith Stanfield, if this dude does not win an Oscar or doesn't at least get nominated for his performance as Colin Warner, I don't know what I'll do. Because honestly, this movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I mean, the way it portrays prison life, the way it portrays family, the way it portrays the justice system, it doesn't feel like a fictional movie. It just feels like something I would watch as an HBO or PBS documentary. I mean, Matt Ruskin really captures the environment of 80s Brooklyn and even up to modern day, New York City and modern day America very well. And I love how this movie captures, the time frames. It shows clips of it throughout the movie. So, again, I already did a review of Crown Heights. If you want to check that out, I'll also put a link for that in the description below. But yeah, I highly recommend you go check this one out if it's playing in your local area. And if not, maybe go out of your way to go see this film, because it's one of those movies where you have to believe it to see. You have to see it to believe it. Well, people, that is my end year list. Summer list. Sorry, people, I'm recording this late at night. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I will see you for my next review. So see you around, people. Bye.